Young Turks now has audio, the TYT Audio Network, podcasts of some of your favorite shows and new shows, including one with Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator. She's going to do We the People with Nina Turner, talking about equality and justice and seeing that through the eyes of regular Americans who are affected by politics and policy. Everybody check it out at tyt.com/audio.
During a recent press conference, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo addressed the terms of the agreement with North Korea. And he was able to be a little more specific, even though it seems as though North Korea did not get the same or have the same interpretation of this agreement. Now, before I get into the details of that, let's listen to what Mike Pompeo had to say.
Let me be very blunt. President Trump has been incredibly clear about the sequencing of denuclearizations and relief from the sanctions. He has been, he said this from the very beginning. He said it again to Chairman Kim, and he said it in his press conference following his meeting with Chairman Kim.
Can you tell us what that sequencing is then? Since
I just did. I just did. We're going to get complete denuclearization. Only then will there be relief from the sanctions.
So that is not the way North Korea has interpreted the outcome of that summit with Donald Trump. In fact, they are under the impression that things will happen simultaneously or it will be reciprocal. So let me give you the details. Tough sanctions will remain on North Korea until its complete denuclearization, said the Secretary of State, apparently contradicting the North's view that the process agreed at this week's summit would be phased and reciprocal. So they are under the assumption, with good reason, by the way, because Trump did say that he's ready and willing to end the war games over and over again in interviews with the press following the summit. They think, okay, they're going to stop doing these military exercises. They're going to bring US troops home and then we'll start denuclearizing. So that shows that there will be some trouble moving ahead as they have these follow-up meetings and follow-up negotiations, because Trump got himself in trouble by saying the things that he said in interviews following that meeting.
He set up the expectations too high, and so now if it flops, then the propaganda tape he put out about how awesome this meeting is going to look ridiculous. The whole thing about trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize is going to look foolish. So he has to pretend that he got something good out of it. But the reality is, what happened was, and again, Anna and I have been clear about this from day one. We want those talks to happen. We want them to be fruitful. We would love for North Korea to end its nuclear program, and if Trump did it, we would give him a world of credit. But what happened instead so far, is Trump said we're going to end the military exercises. North Korea said nothing. They did not promise anything in return. So we're supposed to get something from North Korea now. Now, when you talk about denuclearizing North Korea, the devil is in the details.
Yes.
So what? Are you going to have UN inspectors go into North Korea or American inspectors? There's no way they're going to agree to American inspectors. I'd be shocked if they agreed to UN inspectors. Now, if you got that in the deal, great, I'd give you a lot of credit. Did you? No, you got nothing. They just gave you a vague promise. Oh, no, don't worry. We will later do something after you give us everything in the beginning.
So, okay, so what is North Korean state media saying? Because that is what Kim Jong-un believes. That is the messaging that Kim Jong-un wants spread throughout the country, right? Let's go to graphic 21. North Korean state media reported on Wednesday that Kim and Trump had recognized the principle of step-by-step and simultaneous action to achieve peace and denuclearization on the Korean peninsula. But that contradicts what Mike Pompeo is saying in that press conference. It's the exact opposite, right? So it's again something to keep in mind. And also, look, I know that a lot of people for some reason don't care, but you should care, because we have to have a good relationship with our allies. And Trump has consistently done things without advising our allies, in this case, South Korea and Japan, and he just unilaterally promises things to a dictator. And so South Korea was caught off guard, Japan was caught off guard, and Japan has been a little more open about how frustrated they are about this situation, because they wish they had at least been talked to prior to Trump saying what he said about the military exercises and possibly bringing the US troops back home. But South Korea is, at least the leadership is being a little more cautious and hesitant because they know that Trump often says things, in the moment because he's just passionate about it in the moment, and then he doesn't really follow through with it. But the media, the largest paper in South Korea, is not happy. And so they published an article going after Trump pretty aggressively. Let me give you an example. So one of the major newspapers in South Korea blasted Trump in an editorial for not doing enough to secure the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. So they're saying, look, we're okay with ending the military exercises, but that's what kind of keeps us safe. That is essentially a warning to North Korea that, hey, if there's any aggression, we will react to it. And so if North Korea doesn't denuclearize and we end these so-called war games, first, that puts us at risk. And so they're worried. Another example, there's no deadline to be found anywhere, and instead Trump is talking about real estate development on North Korea's coast.
Preposterous.
I mean, yeah.
You're gonna put a Trump Tower in North Korea? I mean, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about real estate development on the coast? What kind of a jackass are you? This is why you need to do your homework. You can't go into a negotiation and then give away the store and then have your allies go, what in the world did you just do? The last time he announced something, South Korea came out and said, we don't know what he means. Like literally, yeah. And they're really trying hard to be on Trump's good side. And the current leader of South Korea has a lot invested in these negotiations.
Yeah.
Because South Korea has a couple of different camps, as every country does politically, right? And one camp wants to be tough on North Korea. The other camp wants a peace deal. The current leader of South Korea is in the camp that wants a peace deal. So he's like, okay, great, Trump's doing all this stuff. But even him, they go to him sometimes, he's like, I don't know what Trump means,
yeah.
Right? Because he doesn't talk to him, and none of this makes any sense.
And
so just, sorry, to finish the point there, the military exercises, if we gave them away, would I shed a tear? Well, it depends, right? If North Korea then said UN inspectors can come in and make sure we have no nukes, I'll do that deal in a second. Great, and if that's what the next step is, then I'll come back on the show and I'll tell you, hey, they let the UN inspectors in and we're positive they don't have nukes. That's a great deal. I would love that deal, right? But if you tell me end the military exercise and in return we get vague promises from North Korea, which has never ever kept their promises, that is not a good deal. That's a terrible deal.
Yeah, and look, I agree with people who think those military exercises are a provocation, right? I could see why North Korea would have an issue with that. We should bring our military back home to the United States. I get that argument, but you got to keep in mind, not only is South Korea our ally, but these are individuals who fear for their lives. And that's the reason why they want to maintain whatever protection they have in place now until they can ensure that, the denuclearization is taking place in North Korea. By the way, I also want to be clear about one thing because I feel like it's not being talked about enough when it comes to denuclearizing North Korea. What does that mean? Right? I mean, how much intelligence do we have in regard to their nuclear capabilities? What does denuclearizing mean? It's a different situation if you want to compare it to Iran, right? And the problem is, those details are not something that Trump seems even vaguely interested in.
And look, bottom line on this is I'm still hoping for good things. And overall, I'll take it because at least we're not going to war. But my prediction on how this ends is there's no way the North Koreans let inspectors into their country. So all their promises will be total BS, totally unverified, and totally meaningless. On the other hand, by the way, the great deal that Obama did in Iran allowed inspectors to go inside Iran. See, that actually was verified, and he lit that one on fire. He's a fool, and then he goes into this deal. I would like to get credit for being a great negotiator. So what did you get? Nothing. Vague promises from a North Korean dictator. Yeah, great job. As usual, screws it up royally. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.